I have a new one for you, Blankets by Craig Thompson. Craig Thompson. And this is a massive 600-page affair that is, yeah, it was really good. It's in black and white, which I haven't read black and white comics in quite a bit. Look at the art. You can see a little on the back. Ooh. Yeah, this is a thick book, black and white. Like I said, 600 pages. This must have taken a few years for Craig Thompson to churn out. It's impressive. And even though it's really long, it only takes like a few hours. You could read it in a few hours. I read it over several days, but I mean, if you want to, you could crank through this mother in a few hours. And I think that it's kind of amazing that you think he probably spent a few years doing this. And because it's autobiographical, it's also covers many years of his life. So it's like a lot of experience in one. Like the reader just takes part in it for a few hours, but I mean, this is years of a person's life. You think about that. And if I had read a description of this book, and like if it was going to be a novel or a movie, I probably wouldn't be interested. But because so many people recommended it, and because I love comics, and the sheer format of comics is not so much always about the content, it's a lot of times about how it's delivered and how like time is represented on the page. And so even though maybe the topic might not have won me over, it's a Bildungsroman, and a story of a person going from childhood to adulthood, but there's a lot of things that are skipped over. It's just focusing on a few key aspects, kind of like about his relationship, especially with his brother and this girl he starts seeing. So it's good. I liked it a lot. But yeah, if you told me the description, I'd be like, that doesn't really sound like my thing. His art is really good, and I think it's not realistic, and I like that. I actually prefer that in comics because it allows so much more expression. And I would, if I had to compare him to other artists, I'd say he's kind of somewhere between Jeff Smith of, Bone, or also a bit of Paul Pope, that kind of little more raw energy to it. So I like it. It's a good art style. It works for him. Because it's cartooning, it's not always clear when things are happening in real, quote unquote, real life, and as opposed to his mind. Like, I mean, it's clear, but he kind of blurs it back and forth intentionally, and that's what I like. That's impressive. The whole book has a very quiet, kind of traumatized feel to it, kind of like I was thinking of William Faulkner, like a lot of his books, The Sound and the Fury, for example. It's like after some really traumatic event has happened, and everybody feels this kind of like after a gunshot, everybody's just kind of reeling and like, whoa. Because he probably took a few years to make this large book, you can actually see his art evolve as he does it, because anyone who spends 600 pages on something is gonna evolve, and it's really interesting, because he was good at the beginning, but by the end I think he's actually great. So this is kind of like one of those turning points in the work of an artist. And I definitely want to look at his other books, his earlier books and his later books. I will certainly be checking them out. And my understanding is that they're not autobiographical, which I think will probably be for the best, but who knows, we'll see. So yes, check this book out. It's very good, and I like the ending because it's not satisfying. And what I mean by that is that it raises more questions than it resolves, and I think that's sometimes a better way of making art rather than providing easy answers. Or he deals more with the ambiguity of life and things that can't always be resolved. So I enjoyed that. Check out Blankets. Should have a new review sometime maybe next week. I think either The Left Hand of Darkness or this Batman book I'm reading.